Hello, everybody. Today I have a beautiful guest whose name I love and who this word is one of my favorite words that I use to describe the most delicious things. So I would like to think that today's guest is delicious.
Yay!
Her name, her name is Ambrosia Matthews, and she is a psychic medium and a channel who has been able to see, hear, and communicate with spirits since the age of 5. She has been working as a professional intuitive since 2018, offering psychic medium readings to help people heal, gain clarity, and connect with their loved ones in spirit. Additionally, Ambrosia is a channel for a collection of Arcturian energy referred to as the Arc-9. This Arcturian energy came through several years ago in order to help humanity ascend and understand their human experience. Ambrosia shares her wisdom, intuitive insights, and humor through a podcast called Inner Bloom that she hosts with her best friend, Alexa. Ambrosia and Alexa host transformational retreats together, combining their gifts of channeling, intuitive coaching, EFT, inner child work, and more in order to create containers and community for lightworkers to expand. Ambrosia also has a passion for educating other intuitives about how to properly utilize and control their gifts, and she offers classes as well as private coaching to create a safe and fun experience for her students and clients. What a delight. This is going to be such a fun conversation. I mean, we got aliens on the table. Yeah. We got all sorts of rabbit holing we can do. We've got wild places we can go with this conversation. So thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I love it. So excited.
Yay.
The weirder, the better in my world.
Exactly. That's what we were just saying before I hit record is like, let's bring out as much weirdness as possible because the world is fucking weird right now. It's just fucking weird. And so like, I keep telling people like, open your hearts and minds to all possibilities of what's happening right now. All of it. I'm talking intergalactic. I'm talking, rabbit holes, so-called conspiracy theories that I now call possible truths.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there's so many now that it's like,
right.
Yeah, I could see that. That makes sense.
It could happen.
It could happen. Anything's possible now. And I think that's one of a reflection that I really like to hear is that I acclimate pretty easily. So I was doing a reading the other day and I saw a person that had passed away was peeking out of my window, like into me, like looking at me. And it startled me because you're not used to just seeing, I thought it was an actual, like my neighbor being a creep or something. And so I literally am on a professional reading and I go, holy shit. And then I said, no, I'm sorry. That was your dad. He just scared me. I apologize. I told him to come in and he came in. But then I adjusted and I was like, okay, cool. So now I'm physically seeing spirits. Awesome. No big deal. And that's the same thing with aliens is, okay, now I'm channeling Arcturians. What else are we going to do here? So,
well, let's step back and talk about, I have my line of questions, which I may or may not get to because we have this other thing that we need to discuss. And what the hell are Arcturians for my listeners that don't know?
Okay. So there are different beings in the galaxy, in the universe that help us as human beings, that help our planet. And the reason that they help our planet, the reason they're so invested in us is because they want Gaia, our Earth, but then also the beings, human beings, animals, all of it on her planet to ascend and go through transformation. Also, they describe us as a form of their children. Like they helped, Arcturians are essentially aliens, similar to Pleiadians, Syrians, what's another one?
Lyran.
Reptilians, the Greys.
Draconian.
Yeah, all of them. And so we all have, well, a lot of us, I don't want to say all of us, but a lot of us have bits and pieces of their DNA. And so if you've ever felt like you just don't want to be here, if you've ever felt like I just don't belong here, this doesn't feel right, I don't understand how people can be so cold, I don't understand humans, it feels really heavy here, you might be an ET. You might be a part of that. Or
I remember as a kid, I have lots of interesting memories from childhood now looking back that I'm like, one of them is that I used to, when I was a kid, always say, even when I was sitting right at home, I used to say, I want to go home. I want to go home. And the other thing is that my favorite number as a child, whenever I would exaggerate anything, was 186,000, which is the speed of light. 186,000 miles per second, I think, is the speed of light. And that was my favorite number as a child. So if this is true, that we all have, or that many of us have some intergalactic DNA in us, then I'm certainly on board with that, because if I'm not included in that group, then I don't know who is.
What's interesting, I had this PR company reach out to me. I've been doing TikToks and stuff like that, and they saw me on TikTok and they reached out to me. They're like, hey, we want to talk about representing you, blah, 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 blah. So I kid you not, I'm talking to this woman and it wasn't a right fit, but she goes, so you're a medium and, you know, a psychic. And I go, yeah, but I really want to focus on the channeling. And she goes, what is that? So I explain it and I say Arcturian, and she lost it. She was like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. She's like, I was told yesterday that I'm an Arcturian. And I was like, yeah, welcome. And she was like, holy shit, like, what does that mean? And she got really confused and we talked about it, but people just naturally gravitate to me that relate to any kind of ET in some way. So.
Wow. What a surprise. Yeah. So, okay. So given this, and thank you for the description of that, that's really helpful, and we'll come back to it hopefully. But just to go down this path, what kind of impact do you want to make in the world over the course of the next 5 years? Or if that's too long to even think about, then, 5 weeks.
I really like that. I like that question. I want to show people their potential. I want to show people that they are not alone. And I want to show people what they're capable of, why they're here on this planet in this time. And that there's magic around you all the time. Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Yeah, everything is magic. I tell my kid that all the time. He's just like, is this magic? And I'm like, babe, you're asking the wrong person. Everything is magic.
Yeah. I always tell my kids that fireflies are fairies. Because they might be, we don't know. They could be. So like I tell them there's magic everywhere. Yeah.
I imagine that your work has probably grown a lot in the last several months, but I'm curious if that's true. Like, has your work shifted a lot since all this craziness came to the surface? The craziness has always been here, y'all. It just came to the surface real hardcore back in February, March. Yep. So I'm wondering how your work has shifted since then.
So it's shifted in positive and negative ways, right? And if you ask the Arcturians, this is like where we disagree a little bit. But they say nothing is positive or negative. It's neutral. It's just dependent upon the outcome that we give it. I agree with that. But when you're human, it's very difficult to remember that there's no positive or negative. So anywho, we used to do my podcast. We used to do like 4 or 5 retreats a year. We are not. That was traveling is one of the things that I love with my whole heart. So that was a big blow for me. As far as business goes, I have never been busier ever.
Yeah. Right. That's what I was thinking for you.
Yeah. TikTok blew up. Thank God. Love TikTok. TikTok blew up for me, which translated into Instagram blowing up, which translated into me creating a YouTube channel and starting to say, okay, so how can we do all platforms and not kill myself at the same time? So
I'm curious about how do you do all platforms and not kill yourself? Let's hear it.
Well, I got an assistant. One.
Delegation. Hello.
Yeah, that's a huge thing. You have to be humble enough to say, I can't do this all on my own. I need help. Right. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people aren't willing to do. And a lot of people have a worthiness component in, well, who am I to have an assistant? Well, who are you to not have an assistant? Fuck it. Do it. So I have an assistant and she posts all of my social media content every day. And then when we do the Patreons, she does is she chops a portion of that and puts it on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Until I can go live. And then what I do from there is I go live on all of my social media platforms with the exception of YouTube, because you have to have 1,000 followers and I'm not there yet, but I will be. And so I go live to give everybody a little sample of what they're getting. So.
Awesome. So I'm curious, like, so since you're delegating and you've got your social media manager, congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
How do you stay authentic to your true voice when you've got somebody who's doing some of that content piece on your behalf?
So I'm super open and super flexible. So I am always not the best with the written word. I'm really good at voice. I'm really good at video. I can do that all day. However, written word, my words get mixed up. And I don't feel like I represent myself as well as I can. And so I found someone that brings that out in me. We've actually been working together for a couple of years. She used to be a student of mine. So she knows
so she
me
really
pretty
gets
well.
you. Yeah.
She really gets me. She really knows me. And if there's something that she has a question about, she always asks me, and I really like that.
Awesome. What kind of people do you feel like resonate with you? Obviously, people who have intergalactic DNA, yes. but on the more like earthly realm, in the earthly language, what kind of people are gravitating towards you right now?
I always, and I mean this in a good way towards myself, but I always say that I'm the drunk girl in the bathroom. That's like, you fucking got this. You go, girl. You don't need him. Like, I'm that girl all the time. I am a hype girl 100%. So when I do readings for people, they're usually like, hey, girl, like we know each other. And I'm like, oh, hey, how's it going? Because that's just how I come across. So those type of people are naturally attracted to me. The people that either need a hype girl or the people that are hype girls. I am all about women empowerment. I think it's bullshit that we downgrade each other, that we make each other feel poorly. There's no need for that. You're beautiful. I'm beautiful. Let's see what we can create together. And if there's something lacking in me, cool, you bring that out. Or if there's something lacking in you, then I bring that out. And there's no competitiveness. That's unnecessary.
Yeah, it's the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, right? Like I feel like the more that we sort of it's more than just collaboration. It's this like synergistic energy exchange that happens.
Mm-hmm.
And men can come too, but really it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. I feel like that happens in the online entrepreneur world of women. And
I always love it when I talk to men, because their reactions are priceless. So women are mostly drawn to me. I would say 90% of the people that reach out to me are women. But when a man gets a reading from me, their reaction is usually, holy shit. Like, yeah, welcome. Come over to this side. Come over to the divine feminine. So
it'll be good for you, I promise.
Yeah, I won't bite you. I promise. It's going to be okay. Or I have a joke on the podcast because we live stream it. And so if there's a man watching, I'll be like, be careful. Don't spook him. Don't spook him. Just be calm. But it'd be cool. So it's nice.
How do you, you've touched on it already, but how do you reach people organically? What works for you in that regard?
So I know for a little bit, I don't know a lot, but I do know that people need to see you to feel like they know you, right? So that's with anything. But with psychic work, with intuitive work, it's even more, because I just had someone that I spoke to, their late husband, he passed a year ago. So that's a very personal relationship. And so they want to feel like they know you. So they need to see you at least 7 times before they actually reach out. So if you feel like you're posting too much, you're probably not posting enough. So that's what I always say. But I am constantly not only in people's news feeds, but also engaging with them. That's the big thing. It's called social media, so you can socially interact with people. And I think that that's the piece that people forget, because people spend a lot of time on social media, but you're not thinking about the engagement, right? So in the comment section, I will usually comment like, I'm so sorry for your loss, or I'll comment that, they're with you, or like different words of encouragement that I genuinely mean. I'm not saying it to be fake, but I genuinely mean it. But I think that's a step that not a lot of creators do, is reading the comments and actually engaging with their audience, because their audience is everything. Like, these are people that relate to me on some level, and I relate to them as well when I get to know them. That's why I love retreats, because I get to know people.
Yeah. Oh man. Someday we'll have them again.
We will. We're doing a virtual retreat. It's going to be
Nice.
great. Yeah, it's going to be great.
Nice. Yeah, it will be great. And then when the time comes where we can, really travel internationally again, hop on down to Costa Rica.
That was our plan, actually. We were going to go to Costa Rica in July. So I will see you there.
Okay, good. We'll hang. It'll be great. So, I want to get back to, because you're mentioning like the people who comment and like maybe like people who have like family members who've passed or something along those lines. Is that typically like the kind of work that you do? People who have had loved ones pass?
Yeah.
Is that how people sort of get into you?
That's how people reached me. Yes. So the channeling I actually only do for Patreons and retreats. Now I'm thinking about, and YouTube, I'm thinking about changing that, but that's really just in the thought phase right now. Readings are with mediumship, meaning people that have passed away, or psychic, meaning future and current life events. So I made a TikTok on, do dead people go to their own funerals? And it blew up, and it was really interesting. So
what's the answer to that?
Most of the time they do. Yes, most of the time they do. Grandma wants to, I love it when, I've only had this happen a few times, like 2 times. When they have a viewing and someone does their makeup wrong and grandma's real upset. I had one grandmother tell me, she made me look like a whore. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so I told this person's grandchild, that's what she said. And she starts laughing and she's like, that's totally what my grandmother would have said. And yes, they did put too much makeup on her for my grandmother's liking. So it was really, it just brings out that personality. It gives you a glimpse of being with that person for 30 minutes. So.
Wow. How do you stay consistent? Like, with your marketing, if you're busy, you're working with clients, how do you make sure that you are showing up 7 times, at least for each individual?
So my assistant and I actually have a meeting once a week. We go over all the tasks, all the items that we're going to do for that week, everything that she's going to do, everything that I'm going to do. And so she goes over all of my posts. That's where I check it off. I like this. I don't like this. Change that. And she posts 3 times a day on all platforms. And then from there, I post about my kids, or I post about like personal stuff, quotes, downloads. Sometimes I'll just jump on and do like a live meditation. Whatever the case may be, it's really, that's more intuitive posting and more like flowy posting.
Right. Yeah. So you've got her for the sort of like scheduled profesh stuff, and then you've got your spontaneous personal stuff that comes through too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you ever channel messages from the Arcturians in your posting?
Yeah, I did. I actually channeled one yesterday. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
People are afraid to die because they know they are not living.
That brings up a good point. I've been thinking about this quite a bit lately, is this huge fear of death that we have in the world right now. And I know it's a bit controversial, but we're so afraid of death, even though it's a pretty small percentage of death rate, real small percentage of death rate right now that we've got with what we've got going on. People are so afraid of it that they are willing to throw everything away. In their current life, in their life right now. They will throw it all away because they're so afraid of death.
It's really, what do you mean throwing everything away? Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, freedom of movement, freedom to breathe oxygen at will.
Yeah. I feel like what's happening right now is, and I've said this since it started in January, but I've said this since February, is if you don't like something about your life right now, this is the year that it's in your face. You can't deny it. If you don't like your home life, that's your home. Your home, baby. You don't like your partner, you've got to reevaluate that situation. If you don't like your job, now is the time to reevaluate, because what is happening is a gift. It's this opportunity to see what is working and what is not working in your life. And what I always tell people is, if people on YouTube can play with toys for a living and make millions of dollars, you can figure out what the fuck you want to do with your life and be happy.
Hell yeah. I love that. And I love seeing this as a gift. I mean, and I go there pretty frequently. I mean, for me, I look around and I'm just like, thank you, thank you, thank you. I've got the best life ever. And I'm so grateful that I had the wherewithal to create the life that I have. But I also, you know, I know a lot of people are not in that position right now. So it's like we're doing a mass shadow work.
Yeah, that's
collective shadow work.
Yep. It's the year of shadow work, actually. Like it's the year of the Great Awakening. So you're waking up to what you don't like, you're waking up to what you do like. You can't change a pattern if you don't recognize that it's not working. You can't change a pattern if you don't see that it's a pattern.
It's the year of seeing 2020, y'all.
For sure. And it's not, and my words are not to be harsh. My words are not to say that if your loved one has passed from COVID, because I have met a few people that have passed from COVID, that it's not serious or that, you know, it's not something to take lightly. But it is to say, if you are not happy in your life, then stop doing what you're doing and change. Do something different because you're already unhappy. The worst thing that can happen is you get a little happier.
The worst thing that can happen. We're doing pretty good.
Yeah, that's the worst. I always tell people, like, when people that have passed away, or Arcturians or the Greys, I've met the Greys, when they describe other realms and other dimensions, I gotta tell you, like, this is the bad place. This is hell. So it only gets better, guys. It really does.
Yeah, that's my sense too. My sense is that this is the sort of, exactly what you said, that this is basically the classic hell that we're in now. I mean, my life doesn't feel that way, but right, you have to make
doesn't feel that way. Yeah.
But you have to make it. Yeah, mine did too. Mine has before too. And then I actively chose. Exactly. You have to actively choose, sometimes on a daily basis, to create your own little slice of heaven on earth.
Yeah. And go ahead.
Yeah. No, you go ahead. Yeah, you. It's all about you, girl.
The Arcturians keep calling us the creators. And so I think that is definitely going into, you're creating your own reality. So what do you want to experience? You want to experience contrast? I mean, I know I've been guilty of, my relationship has gone too well, so I just start a fight. Like, I just need a little drama. All right. You know? And I feel like everybody does that on some level. Maybe it's not in your relationship, maybe it's in work. But it doesn't matter if you're a psychic, if you talk to aliens or not, you're still human. And so you're still going to experience the contrast, because that's why we're here, is to experience the sticky, icky part.
Yeah. So then what's next? What happens after we're done experiencing the sticky, icky part? You got any revelations for us? Yeah.
I had someone ask me yesterday, how do I ascend? And I said, do you mean transition? Like, what are we talking here? Are we talking death? And she's like, no, how do I get to a higher realm where I'm not in my head and I don't feel so bad and I really trust myself? And I said, oh, so we are talking about transitioning. You're talking about death. And she's like, no. And I was like, you're human. Like, Gandhi felt this way. He's a human, you know? Everybody goes through emotions at one point in the experience or not, where you doubt yourself, where you feel alone, where you feel like this isn't working. But it's those moments where you have the option to say, okay, I'm going to sit with this. I'm going to relax. I'm not going to judge myself. I'm not going to be harsh on myself, call myself a piece of shit. I'm just going to relax. And the next moment's going to be better. And you choose a little bit better. It doesn't have to be drastic. It's not always all or nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Baby steps.
Baby steps. But we are in instant manifestation. We are already there. We're in it.
Yeah.
And so that can be a scary thing if you let your thoughts control you. But one of the things that I find really helps people is doing a brain dump. So you sit with yourself, you can call it meditation if you want to. I don't like that term, it's whatever. But you sit with yourself and you'll start to hear everything going on. I should be doing this. I should be doing that. Oh my God, what about this? What about that? And you write it all down. You take a minute just to write it all down. And then you just sit again. And you're just relaxing and noticing the thoughts that are coming in. And then it's about subtly changing those thoughts. So maybe you write a note to yourself in the morning, telling yourself how beautiful you are. Maybe you write it on your mirror, telling yourself you're not making any wrong choices. You're only making right choices today. Different positive affirmations that don't have to be, I'm living the perfect life, because that's too big of a gap, you know? It's not believable.
Yeah. So you said that you don't like the word meditation. What kinds of like rituals and daily routines help you sort of stay in alignment?
I really enjoy a couple of things. I really enjoy automatic writing. I do that a lot. I find a lot of people channel that way. They're just not aware that they're channeling. I really enjoy, I have a pool, so I go and I just put my feet in the pool and I cleanse my energy that way. I'll go out into my backyard and stand in the grass and just quietly be with myself. And then I go run 3 or 4 miles in the hot sun. Because I like the way that it feels. That is my movement, is my meditation. I love it.
Oh, me too. Yeah. I love movement meditation. Sitting still does not, I mean, if I have moved a lot, say if I like go through like a really vigorous sort of exercise or dance or something like that, then I can sit still and meditate. Yeah. But I got to get it all out first.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And I think that have you heard of tuning?
I don't know. Tell me more.
So essentially sometimes like so what I do is trance channeling. I actually go into like a meditative state and I let the Arcturians speak through my body. It's similar to Abraham Hicks. It's also similar to like Bashar. I look pretty similar to Bashar, how he closes his eyes and rocks. I digress. So before that happens, sometimes the energy gets so built up that I have to like scream or let it out. So I call it tuning. I'm not really sure if there's like a technical term for it, but it doesn't matter because it's my world and this is what I call it. So I start at my root chakra and I just make this sound with my mouth. And then I keep going up each chakra until the pressure is relieved.
Do you teach other people how to sort of open their channel up more?
Yes, I've started doing that. A lot of people have started to come to me and ask me about that. Yeah. So,
awesome.
I have a couple of options for that. But yeah, I do teach people.
Amazing. I'm super curious about that personally, but also I'm curious, like what other offerings you've got available for folks that might be listening right now.
Yeah. So one of the main things I do that I love to do is teach. Teaching people how to channel, how to open up their channel. Also teaching new intuitive people how to control their gifts, how to open up their gifts, and how to live in 2 worlds at the same time and not be so freaked out that you can't live in either. Because I was for a really long time. The other thing I do is private coaching. So this is really for someone who either wants to take their intuitive business on a really professional level, and we do that because there's a difference between I'm feeling good and this is what I get, and I have an appointment at 2:00 and I've got to be on for this person. It's a big difference. And then I also help people with feeling better about themselves, like changing their negative story into the life that they want to live.
Yeah. Awesome. And what's your sort of next level, and how do you plan to get these offerings and yourself in front of a massively bigger audience in the next year or so?
Let's see. Really focused on YouTube. My podcast is working with marketing person. We are actually going to do a corporate event with Clorox.
Ooh, fascinating. Yeah, hello, Clorox.
About being more in like we're not going to use the word intuitive, right? Because it's still very corporate America. So we're gonna use other words, but being more mindful in the workplace and grounding, and because everybody's going through depression right now or some kind of contrast. And so I lovingly call people muggles. So the muggles are freaking out because they don't have the proper tools to really feel what they're feeling and transmute it. Not only feel it, but transmute it. So that is my big push. I would like to have a TV show too.
Yeah. Awesome. Get it.
Yeah.
And how can people find you in the interim before you have your TV show that's in every living room in the world?
Yay! Or every phone. Either way. You can go to my website, ambrosiamatthews.com. You could also go to my podcast website, which is innerbloom.podcast.com. Don't even know the website. Jesus. And if you guys wanted to book a session with me, because we're here and I wanted to give something nice to your audience, I will give you guys $10 off a reading. So if you put in the code psychic, it'll give you $10 off any reading, 60-minute or a half hour.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
You guys ought to hit her up for this. Sounds fun. Yay. All right. Well, thank you so much. This was a really, really interesting and informative conversation. And I hope that my listeners got a lot out of it. I'm sure they did. And I'm super grateful that you came, and hope to stay in touch and continue to learn more about the Arcturian
Yeah. Thank
messages.
you so much for having me. It was so fun.
Yay. All right, y'all. Have a beautiful day. Thanks for listening. Take care of yourselves.